to that 90th minute. She was able to really create a lot of opportunities, whether she was trying to get the ball in the box and whether they were coming off or not. She was great. I do think that somebody that is also going to be huge today for the Tides is Jan's daughter. I think that she is a big leadership role, and one thing that they really lacked in the first game was being able to stay connected as a team and stay compact. So I do think her ability to be a leader in the middle of the field on both the attack and defense will be big for them and really playing as a unit today.
Gunny Jonsdottir is the newly minted captain of this Halifax Tide side coming out of Iceland. And let's take a look at the standings and where we are so far in week 4 of this season. So Halifax, as I mentioned, has only played one match. They have a loss 4-1 to Calgary. It's the Montreal Roses have been the thorn in the side of literally everybody. They've come out of the gate perfection, 3-0, Calgary next, Ottawa, AFC Toronto, and then Vancouver Rise FC started strong with the inaugural win of the season following a loss to the aforementioned Montreal. Vancouver has a chance to get one game above 500 here in front of their home fans. Week 4 NSL action coming up in just a moment. Welcome back to beautiful Burnaby, BC. Look at this scenic backdrop for this week 4 matchup. Vancouver Rise taking on the Halifax Tides at home. Let's look at the hometown lineup first. The starting 11, 2 key changes. Kennedy Faulkner is in for Jessica Cowart, who got hurt in their last matchup. And then you have Lisa Pachersky, who is also out of the lineup.
Yeah, I think this is a big opportunity for Sawan as well as Faulkner to be able to finally step into that starting 11 and show what they're all about. I think Nikki Stanton and Quinn are going to be instrumental to this Rise lineup and being able to really control the play and bring it back into Vancouver's style of play, possession-oriented. So I do think that those two players specifically will be huge for them.
We had a chance to catch up with Vancouver Rise's Nikki Stanton, from the Vancouver Rise. All right, Nikki, thank you so much for joining us before your match against Halifax today. I want to talk to you about your last outing against the Roses. It wasn't the result you guys were hoping for, 3-1, but what lessons can you take from that to apply here today?
Yeah, I think last week's game was a real big learning opportunity for us, and we were able to go into our team meetings and really pinpoint what we needed to work on. I'd rather have a game like that happen earlier in the season than later on. So, yeah, we've put a lot together, and I'm really excited to kind of show that here after coming back from a game like that.
So you guys have addressed yourselves inside the locker room, but now you look to play Halifax. What are some of the things maybe you've seen from their play? I know the sample size is small, that you think you can take advantage of here tonight.
Yeah, we had one game to go off of, and I think just learning about their defensive pressure and how they press and how we're going to try to go against that. I also think it's really important for us to start on the front foot, which we didn't last game, and Halifax comes out really strong, so we need to not only match that, but hopefully do it better.
Thank you so much for your insight and your time. Good luck this evening. All right, let's take a look at Halifax and who they're rolling with for their starting 11. 2 changes as well. Gianna Crichton is coming in, as well as Karima Lemire at left back.
Again, 2 big opportunities for both these players. I do think that for for the Tides, the trio up top is going to be somebody that we really have to pay attention to. Those 3 players between Oduro, Kennedy, and Miller is massive for them. We didn't really see them come together in that first matchup, but I do think that once those 3 are on the same page, there's a lot of problems that are going to be had for every opponent that they play.
You have Erin McLeod in goal for the Halifax Tide, certainly going to want a redemption moment for herself, a tough game for Halifax, as well as the Canadian star, acclaimed national team player for 20 years. Erin McLeod has been a stalwart and now here representing Halifax in Burnaby, BC. As we get ready to get underway here, week 4 at Swan Guard Stadium. Our officials today are Sheila Couture as our head referee, the first assistant, Gabrielle Lemieux, and Megan O'Patril. Everybody lined up, and this is the debut also of these away kits for the Halifax Tide. They're going left to right in the white and purple kits, and Vancouver Rise are going to be in the darker kits going right to left. And one of the things that we noticed from the last match, Vancouver was forced to play a really physical game courtesy of the Montreal Roses. It was by design, and it's something that I wonder if Halifax is going to try and recreate here.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that we're going to see Halifax sort of sit back. I do think that they are going to have that resilience in that fight to them. They absolutely showed that in their first matchup as well. But I do think that, coming on the road for the first time, that we're going to see them play potentially a little bit more reserved defensively, not waste all their energy. As you can see them here, they're sitting a little bit lower. You're not having them in a high press. They're picking their moments to go. So I do think that's going to be crucial for them, being able to pick their moments of when to apply that pressure, because Vancouver is very good at playing out of the back, and being able to stop that buildup will be big.
Seeing if they're going to take a chance upfield, trying to play direct from the back is Kennedy Faulkner, but she decides this time to move it to Jasmine Spencer on the left flank. Quinn all the way back in support. This is something that this Vancouver team relies upon, and it's going to be Morgan McClaskin with her first touch of the match. And nice and easy does it as both these sides ease into it. Halifax was at a disadvantage to a degree in terms of it's their first matchup last week. This is their second, and so they're getting a chance to really feel things out. And now they're going to be on their back foot as the ball goes across, and it's a swipe in the 6. It doesn't amount to much, but it's going to be Vancouver retaining possession and still trying to recycle this opportunity as Stanton gets it on the right-hand side, and she's looking for support. Opts for Quinn. Faulkner with both hands up. Quinn goes up the pitch. Vancouver looking to be on their front foot here. Takes the ball away from Ava Fermo and does a ton of work herself, getting it up to Ward. Ward, one more chance at the cross. It falls in the 6, clears out quickly by Halifax.
Another player that we didn't really get to chat about in that last matchup was Holly Ward. She was so instrumental for them in the first game. She obviously drew that PK, was able to get them on the board. Quinn was able to get them on the board, excuse me. But overall, she was just such a big impact player for them, and I think last matchup we didn't see much of her. In the second half, however, I will say Vancouver really stepped up. I do think that they came out on their front foot, which is what Coach Heiner Muller mentioned, wanting to see her team do, put that pressure on them, apply it to higher up the pitch, and really force Halifax, to make those mistakes, because they are a very good side. They do bring that intensity, but of course nobody likes to be under pressure.
Yeah, and usually it's the teams that apply the pressure that dislike it the most, that counterattack. As we get an opportunity here in the final third for the first time for Halifax, looking to gain some momentum. And it's interesting to see the pace of this league in general as we take a look at head coach for Halifax, Lewis Page. She's actually born in Montreal but moved to Nova Scotia at the age of 12, so has that Halifax, Nova Scotian connection as the head coach for this group. Can't hear any mat sound, guys, just so you know. Opportunity to try and crack things open for Vancouver, but it's the Halifax defense that wins the foot race. Erin McLeod, her first touch of the game. She'll usher the ball over to the right side of the pitch as you see Jonsdottir directing traffic back there for the defense.
think in that first matchup we really saw Halifax. We saw the nerves, and that was normal for everyone in their first matchup. We are seeing them play more confident in living on the ball, in being able to just continue to pass the ball around and not force anything, which is great. And you want to see that from them because they are a very capable side, and I don't think we even scratched the surface with them in that first matchup.
Cristobal Oduro forcing the issue up the right flank, and now it turns into a little tit-for-tat battle, and Halifax comes out on the right side of it. Not a ton of pressure up front by Vancouver, giving this defensive group a time to settle in, as you mentioned, Jess. Turnover in the middle of the pitch. It's Stanton, one-touch turn. Oduro challenges Quinn. They used the defense in relief and end up in the center back spot.
And that's one thing that they didn't have the freedom to be able to do. Montreal really didn't allow them to drop back into almost a back three to be able to start the play, and that's something that Vancouver does do very well. They are good at building out of the back. Quinn specifically being able to receive it there and really find their players and create those opportunities for them in the final third.
A goal kick here is going to be given to Vancouver. The first of the match, a set piece out of the back. It was an opportunity to showcase some speed there by Vancouver, but the ball rolled just out of bounds, and now it's going to be the Tide looking to build out of the back. A nice 1-2 pass, and now up the right side. All the way up front, the ball goes for Miller, turned over. A nice job by this defense from Vancouver of stifling anything early that Halifax is getting. And Ward, slide tackle away from her, and she has that broken hand. That's an easy way to pick her out here. She broke her finger in the first match, Holly Ward. Said, that's okay, cast me up. That's not gonna slow me down. If anything, it's weight training. I actually got faster. Wait till the cast comes off.
I would be quite impressed if Holly Ward could get faster. She is quite the speedster.
She's an exciting player to watch on this team, just 21 years old, out of Vancouver, BC. So she's playing in home in front of friends and family. Gets the ball to Quinn, who moves it to Stanton. Stanton demonstrating a little bit of footwork. Right side of the pitch, looking to attack again. Vancouver has done this now 3 times. Shannon Weller looks to play the ball to the top of the 18. The head is on. Drop to Spencer. Ward now, she's not afraid to go 1v1. Brave into the 18, cross on the ground. It finds no one, but Spencer's there to collect the opportunity and keep the pressure on.
One thing that Lewis Page mentioned is he wants his team, and he feels that his team is their absolute best when they're compact, and he thinks that's something that they really bring as a squad. They're compact both offensively and defensively, so I do think it would be in Vancouver's best interest to be able to find ways to stretch them. Whether that is exposing the flank, creating those opportunities, seeing Holly Ward be able to take players on 1v1 and go down the flank to be able to create opportunities for them.
Well, they have speed on both sides, too. They have Holly Ward. They have Mariah Lee, as you mentioned before,
Absolutely.
Jess. So dual threat, and then the clinicalness of Quinn and Nikki Stanton in the middle. There's a lot to like about this Vancouver side. And honestly, this corner kick here is something that Halifax is going to want to get control of early because it was their undoing early on in their first matchup. Stanton over the ball is ready. A big looping cross to the back post. It finds the head of Quinn. They can't redirect, and it's cleared out of the 18.
Another thing that both these sides really struggled with in their last matchups was that ability to be first to those second balls. The first and second balls are huge, and you need to see whoever wins those balls are usually on top and being able to create opportunities.
It's on for Ward. Another left foot cross, one touch. Finds Halifax players only, and you see Oduro coming back to try and assist. This pressure mounting. Quinn, one touch, looking to chip it up to Lee. This back four holding strong for Halifax so far.
We are also seeing the ball movement be better within that midfield for the Halifax Tides. You're seeing Marika Guay get on the ball a lot more than she did in that first match, be a little bit more alive. She's somebody that is super capable. She's very creative when she has the ball at her feet. She's kind of a trickster. I've had the opportunity to play with her. She's awesome.
Oh, that through ball was on. A nice job backtracking by Spencer because it was nothing but daylight for Miller.
Sorry, Ashley, just to continue my thought, but I do think that the midfield is going to be big for them, and you're seeing Gunny get on the ball as well as Guay really helping them create a little bit more and just calm the play.
That's a great point, Jess, and we'll be watching the battle of the midfield for this entire matchup because you control that, you control the pace, you control the tempo, and the opportunity. That ball hit a little bit, but an offside call potentially. Looking like Odor came from an offside position. It almost looked like a missed kick, and then it ended up being, whether I was fooled or whether it was an opportune run, nonetheless, it's going to be a free kick here for Vancouver. I think we're getting a look here of Odor coming from that offside position. Staying active, looking to give the defense some trouble perhaps. Nonetheless, the ball is played short by Morgan McClaslin.
Oduro's another player that I think in that first match, we didn't really get to see much of her. She's so capable. She's so great. She was something of a mentor to me, actually, when I was
Really?
growing up. Yeah, we played together for Woodbridge League One, and she was somebody that...
Cross in here for Vancouver, and they've been continuing this pressure with those one-touch crosses, not giving the defense too much time to settle. But Halifax doing well to kick it out, and Lemire right there as an opportunity to get a throw. And you see the deep sigh. She's like, whew, all right, one more time. But continue your thoughts, please.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to say she was somebody that really, helped me when I was choosing colleges. She was somebody that was very instrumental in helping me grow as a player on the pitch. So it's so awesome to see her here. But she's so capable. She's so smart. She's always a step ahead mentally, and that's one thing about her that's so special. So I would love to see her get on the ball more. She is playing in that more central role, get the ball to her feet, play her in space when it's on. But I do think that Cristobal Oduro with the ball at her feet is very threatening, and you don't want to be a defender against her. So I would really like to see that front three specifically through Miller as well as Kennedy and Oduro just really come together and start to find their footing, because that front three is going to be very dangerous.
Oduro out of the University of Memphis, 87 appearances, 47 goals, not too shabby.
Not too shabby.
That she can finish, and she's a threat. As you see her get dinged up a little bit of an ankle bite, she'll shake it off, and it'll be a free kick for Halifax. It's always those ones that sting right around the ankle. It's not fleshy, that area.
No, you're not wrong. It is
goes
not.
Right to the heart. All right, just a throw in here for Halifax. Taken down easily, and now an opportunity to switch the field of play, something we haven't seen too much from these teams, moving mostly north to south, not really east to west, aside from those crosses from Ward, which have been nice to the top of the six.
In that opportunity specifically, I would have loved to see her really switch the point of attack. Guay did have an opening, but it was very hard to be able to break that. There was two players around her, not much time and space for her to create anything had she been able to get that under control. So it would have been great to see her really switch this to the flank and potentially open up Vancouver a bit more.
You see Oduro looking to have a little bit of a press here. The ball gets played over the top, and of course the target, Ward, and why wouldn't you trust her in a foot race with almost anybody? The ball a little bit too much pace, and it rolls out of bounds. Eva Fremo with the throw-in. There's Jasmine Spencer, tricky! Little bit of a meg almost gets Fremo on that one, but can't get it past her. The ball rolls out of bounds, however, and it's going to be Vancouver retaining possession.
Do you have a lot of experience megging people?
Yes, actually I do.
Yeah?
Yes.
That was your thing?
Instead of practicing, instead of training. I was just worried about getting my numbers up. Coaching staff loved it.
I'm sure they did.
Henya Heiner-Moller there as we see the head coach for this Vancouver Rise team. She's somebody that really wants to put a show on for these fans, saying that they've been supporting them from the get-go. Forget the inaugural game. Honestly, forget the showing here today, which is fantastic. Just from the time the team was announced, they have been in support of the Vancouver Rise, and when they head on the road, she knows that they're going to have to watch here with us or on, the various streams and broadcasts that we have, and so wants to give them something to cheer about before her team hits the road.
Yeah, she felt like they had that, they owed them that. There was that responsibility. You have these fans, they're putting so much time and effort in coming to support you, or, just watching your games and streaming them, that she just knows that this team, they love their fans, they want to be able to give back, and the way to do that is to put on a good show, especially tonight when, they're heading on the road for their next match.
Well, if there's a duo in the middle that can do it, it's Quinn and Nikki Stanton. They're taking control of this effort now for Vancouver, who decide to recycle the opportunity. Weller looks off Faulkner, goes right back to Stanton. She's pressed well, has to get rid of it. A miscommunication on that layoff, but Stanton wins it back and goes forward. Big cross into the 18. Handled well enough by Farmeau, and it's going to be a corner kick, though. You see numbers piling into the box for Vancouver. Halifax has handled the crosses well enough throughout the first 15 minutes of this match. A marked improvement. And, talking to this Halifax team, that's all they can ask for, right? Earlier in the season, this is when you make your mistakes. This is when you learn from your mistakes and then set yourself up for what they hope is a major comeback here today. Stanton, a big looping delivery. Quinn the target. Instead it finds Josie Longhurst, and it's cleared quickly from Halifax, not able to direct the header opportunities were Vancouver in this.
Those are the first and second balls that are huge to be able to win. If Halifax is able to clear that, Vancouver has a chance taken away from them. If Vancouver is able to win that second ball, they're able to potentially go back, try again, get another opportunity, shot on goal. So in those moments, it is huge for Vancouver to be able to keep that in and repossess the ball and not allow Halifax to clear it.
Another opportunity is on for Ward. She's in the box, left foot cross. The play's still on, however, bounces to the top of the 18, hands go up. And it's Vancouver who is calling for a handball, but it's actually Halifax that's rewarded with the kick. Quinn on the delivery here. A 1-2 touch over to Ward, courtesy of Sawan.
Yeah, and this is what you want, right? Like, you want a player like Holly Ward to be on the ball going 1v1 at people, but there does need to be more numbers in the box. I understand maybe numbers weren't able to catch up to her, but there does need to be a better urgency to get in there, because at the end of the day, you cannot be crossing the ball to nobody. You're not going to be able to get goals that way, and I think that Vancouver, is in desperate need to prove that they're able to score in the run of play and not just off of a PK opportunity. So I do think that they're very capable. I think they have fantastic forwards as well as midfielders. So it's just a matter of really piecing it all together and getting one in the run of play.
Even having Holly Ward, because she has the touch as well. So get down in the deep areas, cut it back, wait.
Yeah.
We understand you're young, youthful, faster than everybody. It might take some people 1 or 2 seconds to catch up or make that cross a bit more of a cutback, to your point.
Yeah, it's important to get it to feet. At times you're just going to you're not going to have the time, and you are just, it's that desperation of just get it in the box. It's better than not getting it at all. But yes, to your point, you absolutely need to find feet and be able to recognize where you are on the pitch and what kind of cross is required from you.
18th minute of play here. Vancouver hosting Halifax at Swangard Stadium in beautiful Burnaby, BC. The sun is shining. The supporters are out in droves. It's 0-0 early on, and here's an opportunity for Halifax down the right-hand side. It's going to be Miller taking on Spencer 1v1. Spencer not afraid of the contact. Miller goes interiorly, and it's Spencer who gets a toe on it, but Halifax come up with possession once again.
You're seeing some great movement from Halifax off the ball. Nice combination play to be able to get that ball up to Miller. And I do think that pairing of Miller and Spencer is going to be a very fun one to watch. Both of them are very fierce players. They do not give up, very resilient, so it's going to be fun to just see them go at it tonight and see who comes out on that 1v1 battle.
Weikers and Olai go back and forth before looking for an opportunity over the top. And a fantastic job by McCaskillin to come out and collect that. Great anticipation.
That's a great idea. You want to be able to try it. Of course, a little bit over hit, but just a matter of really trying time and time again to potentially get that off.
Turnover in the middle of the pitch, and here come Halifax. Sydney Kennedy was looking for service, and instead it's going to be called dead. And we haven't seen much from Sydney Kennedy out of Fletcher's Lake, Nova Scotia, one of the local Halifax, Nova Scotian girls on the team, coming out of the University of Florida, where she spent 4 years, and then returned home to play with her sister at Acadia University, Brenna, for her final year of eligibility in 2023.
You're seeing the idea there. You saw Oduro attempt to play that to Kennedy. Just unfortunately, they're not able to really connect at this moment. I do think that it's going to take a while for that footing to come and for that fluidity to really come together. But I do think that they have to keep trying it until they eventually are on the same page. And I have no doubt that it'll come. They're both very smart players, but sometimes it's hard at the beginning of the season. Everyone comes from different backgrounds. Not everyone is on the same page at all times in what they're expecting in the exact moment.
No, that's a really good point. And we've seen growing pains through all these teams, through all their first, second matchups, even towards their third. I think you look at the Montreal Roses as a bit of an outlier. That chemistry has formed very quickly. They're on a roll, but the more tape you get on teams, the more opportunity you have to prepare specifically for opponents in training. This league, the NSL, is already very exciting, and we're just at the beginning of week 4, so I can't imagine what we have in store for fans and supporters across the league, across the country, for the rest of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing to point out, I can't say that there's even one team that I think hasn't improved from game to game. There is always something that when we do speak to the coaches, they mention this was lacking in their game prior, and they're able to go into that next match and fix it. All these ladies are very determined. They're very honest with themselves. They're able to recognize, what needs to be better. It wasn't good enough, and they step up and they bring it in the next matchup.
Another ball crossed into the 18, dispatched well by the Halifax defensive line. Quinn on ball now, moves it over to Faulkner, who's been steady in support for the first 22 minutes of this matchup, and once again trying to get the ball over to Holly Ward up the left flank. That ball, too much pace on it.
One thing that we are seeing, and we've seen it from Vancouver in the past couple matchup, is that final third ball, that cross, it's just not quite coming together. They do need to have a bit more purpose behind the cross. There has to be recognition of where you are in the box. If you are at the end line, you're cutting it back. If you're in the center of that 18, you're really driving that ball. If you can find someone, fantastic. If you can't, driving that ball across the box is always going to be a better option than looping it in. And I think if you're at the top of the 18, you really do have to look for that ball to hit it back post a little bit more lofted for those runners.
We're going to get a chance here to have a set piece just outside the 18. You see Erin McLeod directing her 3-woman wall. Nikki Stanton over the ball for service. And we talked about incremental improvements, and so far Halifax has done well to have clearance on these crosses, set pieces, corner kicks. This one, closer proximity off the foot of Stanton. Let's see what she does with it. Plays it short to Spencer. Loses the touch ever so slightly. She would have wanted better on that, and it's offside from Mariah Lee. And it's going to be Vancouver who's going to be disappointed with the effort on that set piece for themselves.
That was good recognition by Halifax to be able to read that short and really apply the pressure. You're not able to get much off of that. I believe that was Spencer who attempted to get that ball in. There's just not much time for her to think. when you have someone running at you full pace and you really want to create something because you are in a dangerous opportunity being at the top of the 18. So well in by the Tides and being able to stop that opportunity.
Jasmine Spencer is such a key to this Vancouver team and will be to their long-term success. 34 years old, a New York native, played at the University of Maryland, last played for Angel City FC in the NWSL. One of the few players in the NWSL who had played in every single season since its inaugural season. So she has the experience, she has the longevity, she has the health, which is a big factor in terms of longevity in the careers. And now she's going to apply all those things to Vancouver here this season in the NSL.
That is a pretty awesome stat to have in your back pocket. Wow.
You know, that's what I'm here for. A little 1-2 nuggets. Drop them here and there. You give the people the analysis, a 1-2 punch, if you will, Jess.
Dream team.
If we do say so ourselves, right? Yeah, no one else has said that yet. So
no, just us.
We're trying to start the wave. 25 minutes into this match in Burnaby, BC. A beautiful evening of football at hand. 0-0 as both teams still trying to find a little bit of sustained pressure, and Jasmine Spencer goes flying. That tackle by Framo is going to garner a conversation, at least with our official, Sheila Couture.
She got away from them the first time. They weren't going to allow her to get by the second time. That was...
And I feel like that's deja vu. That almost exact same thing happened to Spencer in a previous matchup. She gets airborne, she has the pace, and laying the body into her, I guess, is the feeling to stop her. But I'm surprised that's not a booking, because I feel like that's yellow card eligible.
On a brighter note, I will say the build-up to that was very good. The movement from Quinn to be able to find Stanton, who was able to find that half space. The movement in the midfield right now for Vancouver has been good, and they've been able to really start the attack from there.
Stanton one more time on service. McLeod comes out for the punch, misses it, but her defense is there. The defensive line is there to kick it out. But it's going to be Vancouver who retain possession. A nice run by Longhurst. She'll go 1v1. 2v1, draws a number of Halifax bodies, and it will stay with Vancouver. Josie Longhurst has been sneaky, pesky in this match so far. A couple opportunities sending her way. Either a quick 1-2 touch or a nice run for herself.
Yeah, she's somebody that has done really well in the matches that she's started for the last two games. I think that she's somebody that, you know, she might go overlooked because she is in the midfield with a player like Quinn and Stanton, and we talk about their experience so much, but Longhurst has been able to hold her own. She's been great. She's been able to help in the attack. She's been great defensively and really getting back. So I do think that she plays a big role as well, not to overlook her, because we have been focusing on Stanton and Quinn quite a bit.
Longhurst, a native of England. She last played in the Barclays Women's Championship for Reading FC. But you know, she has local ties as well. Made an appearance for the Whitecaps FC Girls Elite before signing with the Vancouver Rise back in December. Vancouver calling for a handball. The play's blown dead. It's going to be a common foul called here, and Vancouver are going to get possession, leading towards another opportunity in their final third. Oduro hit the pitch, the ball hit her arm, advantage was lost. The Rise looking to mobilize at the top of the 18. Erin McLeod comes out and Superman punches that offering all the way out of bounds. And this is a nice bounce back opportunity for McLeod, who would want some retribution after the 4-1 loss her team suffered last week.
Yeah, this was great timing. I wasn't sure if she was going to come out and pick that off and really hold on to it, or just get a hand on it like she did. That was awesome timing from her, especially in the earlier free kick. We did see her timing a little off to be able to come out and punch that. She just missed it in the air, so definitely better from McLeod.
Testing the waters in close quarters with these ticky-tacky passes is Halifax. That one runs a little quick. See Erin McLeod there, as I mentioned before, a part of Team Canada from 2002 to 2021. And, you know, the soccer world thought that she was retiring. She had all intentions to, and then NSL gave her a little ring-a-ding, and she said, this is too tempting to turn down. I will be there. You let me know. And she's looking to revive a career that has been phenomenal, but here at home in the first ever professional women's football league in Canada. Stanton once again, Vancouver looking to solve this Halifax defense in the final third, unable to do so just yet. Spencer into the box, and that head goes wide. I see the vision, but still pressure remains. And it's going to be a corner kick here for Vancouver. A nice job.
We love that cheekiness by
from
Sawan.
Sawan. Yeah.
We love it. We love the cheekiness. This is a good effort to be able to keep it in play. Nice little Meg. She pulled an Ashley there. She pulled out an Ashley Docking there, able to get it in between the legs. But I think that was a great effort by her.
Big cross, back post, falls to the feet of Quinn. They're unable to get any power behind it. A coup to the defense. And now it's Halifax back the other way. Numbers join the rush. Weller backtracks, Spencer backtracks. It's Longhurst who's able to get there first and alleviate some of that pressure.
It's a good attempt to be able to catch them in transition, but as you saw, Vancouver was absolutely not letting that go. Their numbers were able to recover quite quickly. They did very well to recover on defense, and they have been playing very front-footed, so it's well on them to be able to get back and recognize the danger that you have when you have a player like Sydney Kennedy running with the ball at your back line, having O'Durrell alongside her. But Halifax just wasn't able to get up numbers quick enough. They do need to be a little bit more on their front foot in those transitional moments to be able to create a dangerous opportunity out of that.
Saw that Vancouver defense, those midfield, they hit that Mario Kart star and just blasted off to get back defensively. But that's the effort that you need, especially in a game like this, which is an opportunity for both teams to bounce back. And O'Durrell once again trying to apply some pressure. We haven't seen Halifax in the final third here for a while. They have not been on the front foot. And it's Vancouver again alleviating any pressure that they happen to be able to muster at this point.
And Coach Heiner Muller mentioned yesterday when we spoke to her that, they had the best match day -1 training session that they had ever had so far this season. This team was ready. They were ready to bounce back after facing adversity for really the first time, I would say, having won their previous match. So I think that this just shows what this team's all about. They're ready, they're resilient, they're able to come into this game clear-headed, put that game behind them, because they did have a good second half. It just wasn't quite good enough in the first half, and they realized that, and now they're able to move forward and make some great strides, as we're seeing. The movement in the midfield is better. The final pass is just a little off, and I would love to see them clean that up, but I do think that it's coming because they are creating the chances. They are doing well to exploit the flanks, and I think that's where their opportunities are going to come.
Common foul called on Ava from Mo. Free kick result for Vancouver, but they retain possession, Halifax, and quickly turned over. You saw a nice one touch by Miller. Defense so quick, and ooh, some nice nifty footwork by Quinn. They're on a solo mission up the pitch, finally looking to Spencer for some relief.
At the beginning of the game, Ashley, you mentioned, is Halifax going to apply the same pressure that we saw them apply, or are they going to sit? And we're getting our answer. They're very much sitting in that low block and allowing Vancouver to play and trying to pick their moments of when to apply that pressure, just to reserve and conserve their energy in this matchup, and not going 100 miles an hour from the start all the way to the final minute in applying pressure.
That ball won well by Halifax in the middle of the pitch. A little bit too ambitious from Vancouver to get to the ball first. Nonetheless, no numbers. The ball rolls gingerly to McCaslin, and she's able to help her defense. Starts moving up the pitch once again. It's Weller, it's Faulkner, Quinn. Organized, precise. Ward to Spencer, just like they drew it up in training. Very little resistance so far in the first 2/3 of this advancement for Vancouver. Wright made a run. She's looked off, looking for Longhurst. Quinn brings it down, and they try to go chest one-touch cracker, and they're not going to be happy with the direction of that shot.
I think right now we're seeing a Halifax side that is attempting to stay compact and together. However, I do think although they are playing in more of a low block, they do need to have a bit of a front-footed mentality. Right now, they're giving Vancouver too much time on the ball. They're a step away, and you're not seeing them apply any sort of pressure, and I don't think that's going to win you games. So I do think that they need to have a bit more of that intensity in their defending and being able to shut down Vancouver's opportunities, because right now they are doing a good job, Vancouver, to just continue to play the ball around, be patient, find the gaps. So I do think that Halifax needs to step it up just a little bit in their intensity and how they're defending, but still continue to keep that low block and that shape.
Throw in for Halifax here with about 4 minutes remaining in regulation in the first half. Common foul called, possession, Halifax. See Marika Guay just adjusting her shin pads. Lewis Page directing traffic from the sideline. Surely an adjustment or two coming our way in the second half. A great opportunity here. The ball skirts by the far post, and waiting with probably salivating was Miller, but unable to get on the end of that delivery.
This is a great job by Sydney Kennedy to be able to create something out of it. You saw her take her player on, I believe that was Wright, take Wright on in the inside and just keep going towards goal. She has a nose for goal, and I do think it's coming in time, but that's great for her to be able to strike that, and it did deflect. Who knows, maybe that could have deflected onto goal had it not hit the player, but I do think that was a great opportunity for Halifax, and they need to continue to bring that as they head into the second half. Excuse me.
The first corner kick of the evening for Halifax. Driven in, met by a Vancouver player at the top of the 6, but a recycled opportunity here. But Spencer, an impediment for Sydney Kennedy, who's able to get it back. And Halifax will switch the plane of attack. The sun ultimately a factor here too, as it moves and crests across the pitch. Off Vancouver goes, transition opportunity.
You see just in that short spurt how dangerous Lee's speed is and her ability to really catch you in transitional moments and start the play. Just from that short spurt of her speed, you're able to see just the impact that she's able to make. If she was further up the pitch, I'm sure that would have been a lot more dangerous, but that was a great start from her, and being able to potentially find feet and start something for her side.
All over Swan is the Halifax defense, and that's an easy call to make if you're our official here tonight. Olai just draped over her shoulder. Swan does a nice job keeping her feet moving, trying to make that turn, and it results in a free kick right at the top of the 18 with 2 minutes, 7 minutes, my math.
Math is hard, I get it.
Here
Math
in
is hard.
regulation. Listen, I'm a creative, not a mathematician, but here we are.
I agree with you, I'm not judging.
Nonetheless, you see Erin McLeod once again directing traffic, trying to make sure that she likes what she sees in front of her. This is going to be an opportunity here for Nikki Stanton. As you can see her kind of Hand to the face, quizzically deciding what she's going to do.
This is a dangerous opportunity for Vancouver, and I do think that if Olai wants to be physical on Swan's back, she has to make it and disguise it a little better than that. I do think that this is huge for Stanton, and she's going to be able to create something out of this, whether it's a rebound or whether she's going directly on goal.
The result of that is a yellow card for Gianna Crichton, we're being told. Hesitation on the service, goes for goal. Nikki Stanton trying to sniff out the top right corner. If it had been a couple inches lower, McLeod's outstretched arm would have done no good, but it sails over the crossbar.
This was a good attempt by her. You see her little hesitation, and she just leaned back a little too much in the end. If she was able to keep her body over the ball slightly, that potentially would have dipped and stayed under the bar.
Yeah, just correction on that. Sarah Olai has the yellow card. She was the one that was draped all over Swan, and so she gets the booking here in the first half. Spencer trying to go for goal. That touch gets a little bit away from her, and now it's back the other way for Halifax. You see everybody trying to get into gear, but a turnover, and now Vancouver on the counter-attack. Mariah Lee trying to go straight for goal, displaced, takes a tumble in the 18.
But that was a great effort by Mariah Lee to come back and win that and create that transitional moment for her team. Again, such a dangerous player. Her ability to not only use her pace, but also she's very smart when she's not on the ball in her positioning, and she just did a great job to be able to restart Vancouver's attack there.
Swan, if you saw her hands up, really trying to let Halifax play that advantage after some contact on the ball, but a foul called, a free kick here for Halifax. Little misplay by Weller, so she'll do well to get that out of bounds and retreat for the throw-in. Halifax looking to organize. The luck that they've had has come on swift transition opportunities, but now a build-up, and it's a foot race won by Faulkner. She goes back to goal. One-touch clearance. And an ill-timed touch there by Fromaux. But I will say that Eva Fromaux has been a bright spot for this Halifax team. She is everywhere. She is trying to create plays, opportunities. She's being physical defensively.
I absolutely agree with you. I think that she's been big for them in this first half. You see her trying to thread the ball through quite a few times. It hasn't quite played out in her favor, but I do think that she's been great for them defensively as well. She's brought a lot of intensity, and I just spoke earlier about, that intensity lacking a little bit in certain moments. She is not one player that has showed a lack of intensity. She's really, you see her getting into it there with Longhurst a little bit. We love that. You love the fierceness, you love the intensity, and just some friendly competition.
Well, the two were just linked up a little bit, and Longhurst is saying she had me essentially by the arms. Our referee tonight saying it's okay, hey, I don't want to see anything else from it. See how this goes. It's certainly something to keep an eye on because you can get yellow card by accumulation as well. Little knocks and dings. You're warned 1, 2, 3 times. It can lead to a booking. It doesn't have to be something very egregious that will get you in that book. Another free kick here. That one, who else was in the middle of it but Fromaux once again. This time Vancouver is going to be awarded the free kick. Jasmine Spencer taking it out of the back. Miller stripped of the ball, and now it goes to Spencer, who ends up getting it back to Faulkner. Oduro trying to apply some of that pressure that saw a little bit of success earlier on.
Halifax doing well to recover there. I was just about to point out how there's way too much time and space for, I believe that was Longhurst that was able to get on the ball. There's just too much time and space for her to be able to turn. She did get, trapped up a little bit. She wasn't able to create anything out of it, but that's a good thing for Halifax and that they were able to get back, because that could have been dangerous.
Well, and I would say, too, it hasn't been exactly clinical on every touch for Vancouver trying to advance the ball. But to your point, partner, that space that they've been allotted is giving them a little bit of grace when they're not as perfect as they would otherwise like to be. Yeah,
absolutely. They're finding a lot of time and space in the middle of the park there in those half spaces, and they're doing a very good job at floating into them and really causing the back line of Halifax to have, ask themselves some questions. Who's stepping, who's not, when they are finding that their midfielders are pushed up.
The yellow card just happened? Or I didn't see it. No problem. So we're being told that there's a yellow card booking for our favorite girl mixing it up here from all. So that's that accumulation that we discussed before. It wasn't anything egregious. Even the one takedown that we saw was kind of a teeter on a tackle. Nonetheless, yellow card for Eva Fremo here as the first half is winding down. 1 minute of extra time. Corner kick from Stanton. Aaron McLeod felt it necessary to make contact with that ball, ensuring it didn't skirt in the near post. And so we'll get this once more time. Nikki Stanton from the left side of the pitch. You see everyone in Halifax on high alert, wanting to go into this half 0-0 at the worst. Service is in. Back post. Falls to Quinn. Tries to hit it off the half volley, and a clearance by Halifax. Well done.
Yeah, in these moments, you just want to get the ball out. Of course, you want to be able to create something out of it, but especially in the winding down minute, you just want to be able to get it out of bounds.
And the whistle sounds. 45 minutes plus 1 minute of extra time here in the first half, as no doubt Enya Heiner-Moller from Vancouver is going to have some notes for her group heading into the half. We have a 0-0 draw here after 45 minutes at Swangard Stadium in beautiful Burnaby, BC. Vancouver Rise and the Halifax Tides FC looking to right the ship, both coming off losses, both looking to assert themselves in the second half.
my old teammates, this is a dream come true. Kind of our motto has always been to leave the sport in a better place than when we joined. And Diana Matheson, she deserves all the credit for this. She saw a void and decided to fix it. And now these young girls are able to see a different future.
The sport in this country is where it is because of Christine Sinclair. From the very beginning, we knew we needed her voice. She is the voice of Canadian soccer, and she was one of my first phone calls. And she said, "Dee, you're crazy. How can I help?" She was there with me when we announced we were going to build this league on the national. And now she's a part owner of Vancouver Rise FC.
The impact of Christine on this league coming to life cannot be overstated. When you think about what this looks like and why we're doing this and why we're here, she's pretty much at the top of the list.
The NSL is more than a league because it's the first one in Canada, coast to coast, best players in Canada. And it's the first time these players have had an opportunity to play at home. That's the best job in the world. It's a lot of work, it's a lot of sacrifice, but there's no better feeling than going out playing in front of like 20,000 fans week in and week out. I never got a chance to play at home. I'm a firm believer that you have to see it to believe it's possible. To see this next generation of Canadians dream of a different future than what I had. Hopefully myself, my old teammates, we helped inspire them, helped them fall in love with the sport, and they'll take it to new levels.
The way Sink was as a captain and as a teammate was, she didn't say a lot, but when she spoke, everybody listened and everybody followed. And so I think it's really important having that voice and having the legendary and historical career that she had on the pitch, having that supporting this and really talking about why this is important and why we need this league. I think people are starting to really, really listen to that.
Come April 16th, I'll definitely be with my two nieces. They think this is the coolest thing ever, that there's going to be professional women's soccer here. I'm sure a lot of my old national team teammates will be there because this is, like I said, a dream come true for all of us. And we'll probably be a little emotional watching kickoff, but we'll enjoy the spectacle that it will be.
A 0-0 draw at halftime for the Vancouver Rise FC and Halifax Tides FC. And while there have been no goals scored as of yet, the fans here in Burnaby, BC at Swangard Stadium have been privy to a few opportune chances, and specifically when it comes to Vancouver. They have been able to press, they have been able to cross the ball periodically, and sometimes it's dropped in, but not in too many advantageous positions, Jess.
Yeah, I think that this first half for Vancouver, there were great moments. There were bright spots. You did see Holly Ward and Lee get down the flank quite a few times and be able to cross the ball. Sawan as well was quite active. I just don't think that final pass is really coming off. But so far, they've done well to find spaces in the midfield, be able to turn and create in those half spaces and start opportunities. I think for Halifax, they too have found opportunities. They've been trying for that long ball at times. You saw Sid Kennedy go at the defenders quite a few times, got one attempt, it just deflected wide. I do think overall both sides have had bright spots. I think Vancouver dominated a little bit more overall, but I think Halifax does need to clean it up in regards defensively as well, bring more intensity. They are sitting low, but just have a bit more of a front-footed mentality heading into this second match, and it can help them out. But overall, I would say both sides have brought some bright spots.
Yeah, they're operating in very different ways. It's Quinn and Nikki Stanton from the midfield leading a composed attack, and then for Halifax Tides, it's in transition, it's urgency, it's pace. And here's what we're looking at in terms of the possession, and I think that the story plays out well. Sometimes you look at possession numbers, Jess, and you're like, oh, I'm actually surprised to see that. But this tracks. The fouls 5-3, the corners 3-1, and the total offsides fine, all created equal, but it's that possession that makes it feel like Vancouver Rise FC is leading towards something, building on top of each other.
Yeah, and I think, that 33.7% is also to the fact that they are playing in a low block, and you are allowing Vancouver to keep that possession. All of that counts towards this. Obviously, they are being able to circulate the ball a bit more. So I do think that this does tell the story. We saw Vancouver really dominate, but I do think a part of that is is because of how low Halifax is playing.
Part of it by design, and the Halifax Tides have to be happy with the fact that they've been able to hold off this Vancouver Rise FC attack. Again, incremental improvements week to week is the order of the day from every coach in the NSL. We are only at week 4. It is just the beginning. We can't wait to see what the second half has in store here at Swangard Stadium.
Diversity, I think, is probably the most wonderful thing in the world. It teaches us acceptance and empathy. To be able to see one another as human beings is, for me, the best thing that I've come out of from sport.
The Northern Super League has been built very uniquely. As far as I know, the only professional league globally that's been built by former players of the sport is built by women in leadership roles across the league. We want to lead the way in making sure we are making a league in which professional women athletes can thrive.
If you decide to go with Ava and then toi.
I am like a kid in a candy shop still at 41 years old playing this sport. So the opportunity to play even longer in front of people that I love and who have shaped who I am as a human is a total gift.
Yeah, tight. Yeah. Millie, check your shot.
I think the privileged position that we have and that we can't take for granted right now is we get to invent the rules from scratch.
The reason the NSL is really important is because of representation, because people are starting to see people like them. I think it's about making an effort in every way possible to make sure more and more people are represented.
I think this is all so incredibly important because it's not just about the athletes, it's about the whole ecosystem of sport, and having so many different backgrounds all within this league really just shows how accessible it is and how important it is for everybody to have those opportunities. When I first retired from sport, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do after. I knew I wanted to stay in the game, I knew I wanted to stay in sport, and I knew I wanted to continue to have an impact on the future generations of women's soccer. Now, fast forward 2.5 years, and we're here with the women's professional soccer team, and I couldn't be more excited for kickoff.
The whole world is waking up and realizing that women's sports is for everyone. It's not just for women as viewers and as players. Boys, girls, men, women, everybody in between that, no matter who you are, there's a place for you.
Imagine if you can't bring your whole self to your daily job and you can't bring the diversity of opinion and thought that you have. We can't be scared or intimidated by that.
I am half Korean. My dad was born in Korea and immigrated to Canada. I'm so grateful for my Korean heritage. I always wear it with pride. I have really strong morals because of the things that both of my parents taught me.
The NSL is more than a league because it's providing opportunities for women in business, for women in sport, and for young kids to fire up their dreams and to see role models in person.
I think the impact that the NSL will have on all genders in the country, there can be a place for them, and I think it offers just more opportunities and realizing that you don't have to go across the world to establish your dreams. Whatever it is for them, there's a future for people like them.
At the end of the day, we're all athletes, we're all human, and we're all people, and it's about treating each other the same and providing equal opportunities for everybody.
This is week 4 of the Northern Super League presented by BMO. It's 0-0 after the first 45 minutes of regulation time between the Vancouver Rise FC and Halifax Tides FC. We are at Swan Guard Stadium in beautiful Burnaby, BC. Let's take a look at the next matches that are coming up here for week 4. It's the undefeated Montreal Roses FC taking on Halifax Tides FC Saturday, May 10th at 1 p.m. Jessica Lisi on the call.
I'm on the call.
On the call once again. Jessica Lisi, my partner here tonight, former Canadian Youth National Team player. My name is Ashley Docking. We're very happy to have you. That Roses game where you can hear Jessica Lisi is going to be on CBC. Jem, as we see, we have a first substitution of the match for Halifax. We are going to have Kylie Norkus sub in, and she is somebody who started last match for Halifax and was put to the bench as a substitution option. What do you make of this change here for Halifax, Jess?
Yeah, I mean, I think that Norkus did well in the first matchup. I think it was a hard match overall for Halifax, so I think it's great to see her get back in and make a difference for her side.
We are about to be underway here at Swangard Stadium. Of course, the visiting Halifax Tides FC are going now right to left, debuting their new away kits, the white and the purple. I like it. It looks like a little ink blot in some water, kind of having its own life of its own.
Wow, you've thought about this.
It's beautiful. It's inspiring something inside of me. So kudos to Halifax, and honestly, the kits have been 10 out of 10 no notes across the board for the NSL. Just another thing that they have been able to do right. The hometown Vancouver is going left to right. They are in the dark blue kits, and we are underway here. 45 more minutes of regulation time to see if anyone can solve the goalkeepers. Aaron McLeod holding it down for Halifax Tides FC. Morgan McCaslin, who's got the ball right now. She's in net for Vancouver Rise. So Eva Fermot with the yellow card, number 28 for Halifax, was the player who was subbed out in favor of Kylie Norkus. We really liked the punch that Fermot was bringing to the table. Maybe this was a decided move. I don't know necessarily if it had anything to do with the yellow card, but that's going to be some pop that Halifax is going to need to make back.
You're seeing some good combination play and movement right now with Vancouver. An unfortunate giveaway there, but there was some great movement, a good layoff to be able to get Quinn involved in the attack. I will say that I think Vancouver has been already starting this second half on the front foot.
We have a substitution for Vancouver. Sawan out. It's Gibson who's going to be in now. So both teams making adjustments. And again, it was Sawan, who was originally put in the lineup in favor of Lisa Pachursky, who started last match. So limited run, 45 minutes for Sawan, and now we see Gibson get some extended run here. Opportunity for Halifax, quickly dispatched by Vancouver, who's done a fantastic job limiting opportunities. Even when Halifax has gotten something in the run of play, it's been one and done. No additional pressure, no extended opportunity.
We're seeing Halifax get some good build-up here.
Sydney Kennedy looking to turn, getting challenged on the play. The ball still stays with Halifax. Lemire will methodically work her way down the pitch. You know how it goes. Throw in, find your spot. An extra 5 yards, then let the ball go. Classic. It's just allowed now. Everyone just understands that that's the way that it's going to be.
That's a secret. You can't expose that.
It's not a secret. It's just how much can you get from it. A big ball over the top, finds Kennedy on the left flank, saves it. Looking for the Meg defense. Ivli for Vancouver, a nice job to displace. Lemire into the middle. Oduro, one touch, she lays it off. And a nice try by Guay to get something going. We haven't really had any pressure on Morgan McClaskin so far, and that one was an easy, tidy save for her.
That was a good ball in by Lemire to be able to find Oduro's feet. I spoke in the first half of wanting to see Oduro get on the ball more and more so, and we haven't really seen her been able to connect with her teammates so far. When she has got on the ball's been over. The passes have been not to feet, potentially hit too hard. So I do think that was a good play for her to be able to get on that. She didn't rush it. She was able to lay it off to Guay, who was able to get a shot off. Obviously didn't go their way, but it's a good attempt, and you want that. You want them to be able to strike from the top of the 18 and potentially create and find that final opportunity.
Some composure under pressure. Halifax demonstrating in the early minutes of the second half. Play on, says our official. A lot of contact there at midfield, and you have a player down at half. And Sheila Couture is calling for the medical staff. It was Mariah Lee, Quinn, and Marika Guay who had gotten into a little scuffle. I thought that's what the ball had been blown dead for here as Guay goes down, but no real contact.
Guay does well to stay with that as well. Being against two players like Quinn and Lee are not easy players to be up against, so I do think that she did well to be able to stay on that and keep possession of the ball.
Quinn, of course, going to Duke University, the first to play soccer at Duke for a Canadian player. You know, they are just the first in a ton of ways for Canadian soccer. The first out non-binary transgender athlete at the Olympics, FIFA World Cup, highest drafted Canadian in the NWSL, third overall. So when you think about what that means to players around Canada, to people around the world, Quinn just a trailblazer in so many ways, and now here representing the NSL for this Vancouver team. Enya Heiner-Muller directing traffic. What do you think her message was to this group, Vancouver, at halftime?
I do think that she was pleased with aspects of their game. Again, I thought they did very well to control the dynamic of the first half. Their midfielders did well between Stanton and Longhurst, as well as Quinn, to find those half spaces. I think potentially she wants them to be able to connect that final pass. I think she wants them to continue to be front-footed. We saw a bit of that front-footedness in that first half, but I do think that they still have a lot more to give in that respect. So I do think that her messaging was essentially to continue to control the play, live on the ball, but also continue with the front-footedness.
Foul called on Gunny Jonsdottir. It's It's going to be a free kick here. Nikki Stanton, like, hello. What's going on with that? So they're going to get a free kick here. And I would say that, to your point, Halifax has been more on the front foot in the early goings in this match, but maybe that's also part of the recipe. You know that they're going to come out and punch, absorb, and counter.
Yeah, I think both these teams wanted to come out in that first half and win the first half. I would say that Vancouver did a much better job at that. It's not to say that Halifax didn't bring intensity in all aspects, because I do think that we saw great intensity from them. But I just think that Vancouver was able to create a lot more from their opportunities and create more dangerous plays from them, whereas Halifax struggled a little bit to really connect that final pass.
Wondering if the sun's going to be a factor here. The light was kind of blown out, but it was Jasmine Spencer defended by Norcus winning the corner kick, and now Stanton once again on the service. The sun could be directly in the face of some of these players. Vancouver hoping that it works in their favor. Service into the box. McLeod with the punch. A blazing shot from Jasmine Spencer. Made no mistake.
Wow.
An absolute cracker. 1-0, Vancouver.
Wow, we spoke about the impact that Jasmine Spencer has for this Vancouver side. This is just absolutely phenomenal from her. The timing to be able to strike that right through the ball. Wow.
Off the half volley.
Wow, that was just a perfect example of her abilities. She is a star on both sides of the ball.
Absolute cinema, Jasmine Spencer. Not only that, she had the nose for goal. Her teammate was right there. She said, absolutely not. I have the angle. I have the touch. That went right under the bar. No doubt about it. And Vancouver get a lead that they can do something with now.
Not many people realize how difficult that really is to do, to not only time it perfectly, but to be able to strike through it and keep your body over the ball just enough that it's not raising above the bar. That is not an easy thing to do, and that shows her quality.
I think everyone was stunned.
I know we were. We both looked at each other like, we were at a loss for words.
Well in timing to punch it out. Right hook, boom. And then Spencer right back down the gut.
There's no stopping that. There is absolutely no stopping that. There's been quite a few bangers this season so far, I would say. I've seen quite a few of them. We've seen Abdu with one, or two, Okoronkwo, and now Spencer. Wow.
Anything you can do, I can do better. I need to see.
Everyone is trying to one-up each other
here. Top 5 goals of the season thus far for NSL. Are you not entertained?
I wish there was a camera in here so everyone could have seen our reaction.
The
we
women
just looked at each other and paused.
The women were too stunned to speak.
They sure were.
1-0 here for Vancouver. Setting the tone early is Jasmine Spencer, and one thing about her is she doesn't do anything half speed. Whether it's defense, whether it's trying to get in play action, whether it's striking that goal at 200 miles per hour off the half volley. Jasmine Spencer came to play.
She absolutely did. And now this is the time where, you know, you're going to see Halifax. Obviously, in their first matchup, they were coming from behind, chasing the game as well. But now you see how they react. Are they going to get their heads down? Are they going to come out resilient? And I'm going to assume that they are, because you can see already that they're not a team that's going to back down. They are filled with fighters and a lot of talented players, and I do think that they are going to come out of this with their head held high.
It's on here for Vancouver. Down in the box.
It's a good recovery by Norcus.
And everyone kind of booing as you see Ward go down, wanting a call here, but well in by Norcus.
Sometimes you just need the physicality. You just got to knock her off the ball. Holly Ward is a player that is going to hurt you if you give her too much time and space. You see her 1v1 battles, she's using her pace, so it was great by Norcus to at least get a bit of a shove on her to push her off balance and not allow a shot.
Stanton's service consistent all match. Top of the 6, headed out. Longhurst lays it off, and the ball is cycled right back into the top of the 6. unrelenting for Vancouver. That ball in a little bit dangerous territory. As see it bounces back post for Gibson.
You're really seeing Vancouver get hungry to attempt to score, to find their second goal. They're coming from all angles. They're not allowing Halifax to clear that ball, and they're able to create something each time that they are on the ball.
It was even as though Sienna Gibson, who's on the developmental roster at Canadian National, thought that it was going to hit somebody. Like she was waiting almost for the ball to take a turn, and we see her just getting some attention here now. Some concern about her nose, perhaps.
Every time I see someone hold their nose, I get a bit of PTSD.
Well, I was going to say, you're triggered because
I am triggered.
You had a training incident.
A nice nose break. It's not fun.
Offside called as Halifax was looking to make a run for it.
That's a great ball through and recognition by Marika Guay. Miller does have to be better on that. There's no reason that she should be overrunning the ball and already be in an offside position. She has to be able to pull opposite side of the ball and then make that diagonal run down the flank to at least create space for herself onside, and potentially pull defenders away from the space that she's attempting to run into. It's those little things that are going to make a difference for Halifax at this moment. You're also seeing Halifax come out more so in a bit of a press this half. We saw them sit in more of a low block in the first half. They allowed Vancouver to really find the ball and play and be comfortable on it. We are seeing a bit more bite from that front three specifically.
The problem is when you're in that press, you can't let someone like Faulkner dribble her way through three players and then put you on your heels. Quinn finding Gibson. Good to see that she's all right. Plays it to the top of the box. Vancouver unable to recover possession. Gibson coming in and being pesky early. Played at the University of British Columbia for the Thunderbirds. Sienna Gibson trying to make her mark here early in the second half. Love the supporters cheering on Holly Ward. And that's how you know you have a dedicated fan base. And for those wondering why Enya Heiner-Moller was worried about showing up well for the supporters, hey, we're game two, and we already have game two at home, and we already have custom cheers.
I mean, yeah, this is going to get stuck in my head. I'm going to be singing this jingle before I go to bed tonight.
Gibson on the other end of it. Excuse me, game three at home, I should say. The inaugural game, the one against the Roses here.
I spoke about wanting quality in that final third pass and in that cross. This was a great ball in by Holly Ward. She recognized that Gibson was wide open at that back post. There wasn't too much power on it. There was just the right amount of float. But unfortunately, Gibson didn't read that, didn't have the hunger to really get on the end of it.
Two substitutions coming in for Halifax at this moment. Daphne Blouin. She will take to the pitch. The evening will be over for Cristobal Odoro, who has had a fine showing here for Tides FC. And coming in her wake is Megumi Nakamura, who also started last match and then took to the bench.
You're seeing Halifax really want to change how things are going. They want some fresh legs up there, being able to take out Kennedy and Oduro. I thought both of them had some bright spots in helping Halifax. But I do think that Bluin and Nakamura are going to be able to add that freshness to this Halifax attack and potentially create something for them. That's another jingle there.
Are we all getting rickrolled accidentally on this broadcast?
Careful, I'm gonna start singing.
Please don't.
Hey, maybe I'm great.
I feel like...
Actually, fun fact,
Oh, no.
I had a sing-off with Erin McLeod when I was 15 years old.
Okay, what'd you
She
sing?
definitely doesn't remember this, but I was at a camp for the under-17 national team, and she outsang me. I will say that. She was much better than me.
What were you guys singing?
What were we singing? I can't remember. She sang an Adele song. She was great.
Adele?
She sang Adele. She rocked it. I
Lofty.
sang Alleluia. I went really yeah. The 15-year-old in me had an old soul, apparently.
Who even are you?
Learning new things about me.
Oh my goodness. All right, corner kick here for Halifax. Looking to get things back on track. Tie it up, and that ball falls right into the waiting arms of McCaslin. A great job, and the first time that she's been tested in one of these set pieces from Halifax.
She did well there to be able to hold that, especially in all the traffic of the amount of players that were in the box. So well in for her, especially not having been tested really any other time this matchup.
Longhurst coming back and saving that short ball that didn't get all the way out to the left side of the pitch, and now it's Nikki Stanton who's going to help build through the middle. Right, one touch, advances, a beautiful ball through to Lee, gets knocked down, absolutely clobbered, and the late flag comes up because the advantage is no more. And a free kick here for Vancouver.
This was a great ball in to Lee to be able to, and Lee's great run. This is a hard tackle.
Tackle? It's just a body check, I believe.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You are not wrong. But just to shine some light on the movement that also led up to that, you saw Stanton really drop low and be able to receive that ball in that full back type position, and you saw Wright really get forward. And those are the partnerships and the movements that you really want to see off the ball from this Vancouver side, because that is what's going to help them create opportunities.
Very tidy here for Halifax as two more subs are going to hit the pitch. Nikki Stanton is coming off. Her evening is done, which is going to leave a bit of a gap in the midfield. We're going to see Samantha Chang come in, trying to hold it down. And then the night is also over for Longhurst, who has been an underrated participant in this Vancouver attack. Also getting some reps on defense that have saved some chances from Halifax. And Sophia Hagman is going to come in as the second midfielder. And she'll be put to work right away. Service into the box goes direct to McLeod. Double punch instead of collection, which means secondary opportunities for Vancouver. Hagman clears it back to the goaltender. And a little casual here from Vancouver on the back line. Sean's daughter heads that back, trying to get the pressure sustained for Halifax, something that they've had an issue with here all evening.
It's really great to see Sam Chang back in the mix. We haven't seen her dress for the last couple matchups. She is a player that is an absolute force in the midfield. She's very good when she has the ball at her feet. She works very hard defensively, but she's also not afraid to get forward. She's a box-to-box type of player. She's an exciting player at that. Obviously capped for the full national team. Just a very quality player, and an awesome person at that as well. Just had to add that in.
That's important.
Give her a nice little shout out. There's a lot of songs in this playlist.
So, do want to add that collision initiated by Wykers did garner a yellow card as she took down Mariah Lee, who was working her way into the 18. The free kick didn't amount to much, but the booking does stand. Gibson goes 1v1, brings it to her left. Lays it off. The clearance doesn't really work. Gibson able to get back to it. And finally, it's brought down. Halifax able to control it out of the back. Nakamura bringing that calm.
That switch from Quinn is also something that we didn't see enough of in the in the last game that they had played. It was on quite a bit. They didn't utilize it as much as they could have. We saw it utilized a lot more in the second half, and I think that always works in their favor. It's very difficult for your whole team to be able to shift in time and not have Vancouver create something by that time.
Ward hustling to create something on her own. Wins the corner kick. Once again, an opportunity here for Vancouver. And that's just pure speed.
And resilience. Honestly, I think one thing about Holly Ward that's great is that she has that forward mentality, that front-footed mentality, and that's not something you can teach. Some people have it and some people don't, and you can see that every time she gets the ball, she wants to try to go 1v1, and that's just exactly what you want in a forward.
Hagman with the service, peeling off the back. Quinn making a back post run. That little loop is how they won a goal or a penalty kick in their last match. All the way back it goes to McClaskin.
We've seen a lot of pace from Spencer there. I will say I'm a little bit surprised to see that there wasn't someone a little further back. Usually someone is hanging a little lower, but it does look like Vancouver got a lot of players forward.
They said, Jasmine, we didn't know you had those in you. Go ahead. Let's see if you can replicate. Because I'm still not over that strike from Jasmine Spencer. We'll be seeing that all week.
We will be.
Well in by Halifax. Turned over in the midfield and send Ward on a run. McLeod trying to play that seemingly to Norcus. A little bit of a miscommunication, bad angle nonetheless. It's going to be Vancouver who take possession. Jasmine Spencer saunters into the frame.
You're seeing Vancouver also looked for those direct transitional plays, finding a player like Holly Ward. You saw Lee look up, realize, hey, I'm taking Ward to be able to win this foot race. I'm going to try it. I'm going to send it. Obviously, McLeod was out of her net and able to come and collect that. But had she not been that far out, I do think that Ward could have created something out of that.
A nice touch on by Nakamura.
You're seeing the shirt pull there.
And she wins the free kick for her efforts. The speed, the touch. A great job coming off the bench, adding that punch, as you mentioned, Jess, that Halifax is looking for. Very clinical here.
This is great ball control. A little bit of creativity. You can see Weller there. She's not left with much options other than to foul that far out where it's not as dangerous. But yeah, I think that this is a player that in the first matchup, you were expecting more from her and for her to be that bright spot for Halifax, and she just wasn't quite on her best game. And I think that today already, in the time that she's been on, she's been able to create and bring some energy.
Weller making what I like to call a business decision.
You're not wrong.
She weighed the pros and cons and said, hey, now's the time if I'm going to do it. 72nd minute here at Swangard Stadium. 1-0 Vancouver rise over Halifax Tides FC at this juncture. This half has been mainly Vancouver pressure. The game has been mainly Vancouver possession. But 1-0 is certainly surmountable. Just hearing now that Weller booked for a yellow card for that shirt pull that we talked about on Nakamura. That's 4 yellow cards here tonight for Halifax. Miller taking it down to the touchline. Unable to make anything of it, and to add insult to injury, goal kick for Vancouver.
Sorry, Ashley, I just wanted to say, I think that, we are seeing a much more aggressive Halifax side, a lot more confident in this half. They're able to create a chance like that. Miller does very well in the individual effort to go at people and to try to create something. I just think that overall we're seeing them confident. They're living on the ball a lot more. We are seeing Vancouver sort of drop off and give them and allow them that time and that space. But I do think that Vancouver's a very hard team to break down, so they are doing well at dealing with that.
2 substitutions now for Vancouver. Mariah Lee is done for the evening. And we have Jessica DeFilippo coming in. And Jess, I saw you give a little fist pump. Let's talk about it after this Miller cross, see what it makes of it. All right, cleared by Vancouver. Go ahead.
A little fist pump. I'm just a big Jessica DeFilippo fan. I think that she's somebody that is able to create a big difference. She's very good in and around the 18. If you're getting a ball in the box, Jessica DeFilippo is going to find a way to get on the end of it. She's very strong. She stands at, I believe, about 5'11", 5'10", so she's a big girl. She's able to create a lot in using her strength, but she's also very explosive in those short sprints. So I just think that she's a great addition to this side.
DeFilippo, 24 years old, out of Mississauga, Ontario. She spent 2 years at Louisville, 2 years at the University of Arkansas. D1 talent, played professionally in Spain. Most recently spent some time with the Whitecaps Elite in 2024, so the pedigree is certainly there. Erin McLeod way out of goal, trying to make something happen, but you have to be careful of the chip. Will Gibson give it a go? She opts to pass it back to the midfield. And now she quickly gets it back. She has yet to take it down the right side of the pitch, down to the touchline. She keeps cutting back to the left. Something of note.
I would really have loved to see her be very confident in that and just try it, or at least take it a bit more herself and potentially create something out of it. She played it safe. Maybe she's nervous. Coming into this matchup, it's not easy to just step on the pitch. She's done well with her time, but I just think that I would love to see her with a bit more bite to her attack and really, show what she's got, because we know she has it. So just a matter of really bringing it out of her and, trying a chip in that situation, as you said, or continuing to dribble forward and then slipping the ball over to DeFilippo, but she just played it a little bit too far behind her and slowed the play.
DeFilippo looked surprised as well.
Yeah.
She was like, okay, young buck, go for it. And then the ball came into the middle, and so, yeah, it is a matter maybe of confidence, of opportunity. But now the Spencer cross, Gibson has had time and space on the back post if the ball is able to get to her, and well in by McLeod, who has had a tendency to just punch away balls that maybe she could have captured so far in this match. So securing that one, making sure there's no secondary opportunity.
Yeah, that was great aggressiveness and timing by McLeod to be able to come out and not allow DeFilippo any opportunity to get on the end of that cross, because that was a good cross in by Spencer. She put it towards where DeFilippo was making that run. And again, as I had said, DeFilippo is a very dangerous player when she's in and around that 18.
Here come Halifax, looking to make something of this match, tying it at 1, but that left-footed opportunity goes wide right of goal. Blouin trying to make her presence felt as a substitution here in the second.
You love the confidence, though. You love that ability to go 1v1 and try it. Obviously, that was off frame, and it does need to be better and more clinical, but that I would say is her first opportunity to really be on the ball in this game. So I think as she finds her footing, next time she's going to be able to at least put that on frame for her side.
I will say Kylie Norcus, since coming into this game, has done well to minimize the impact of Holly Ward. She's still going to get her chances because she's fast, but has made recoveries, has got a foot in, has challenged the play.
And I think at times that's where the experience shows, right? You know, as a defender, this forward is faster than you, so you're going to have to play into it differently. You're going to have to be a step ahead mentally, and I think what Norcus is doing really well right now is she's finding ways to put Holly Ward off balance, where her speed, even though she's able to get there, she's not able to create anything out of it.
Beats Olai, cutting it back. Shot on goal is deflected. And it's an opportunity here for Halifax. For Vancouver, things heating up for the home side.
This is great from Ward. Again, we were just talking about her and her ability, and it's great by Sam Chang to be able to pop out there and provide that option for her to drop back to create a chance.
All eyes on Ward as she made the defender miss. Some nice footwork there. And then Chang with the opportunity deflected. Leading to this corner kick opportunity. Hagman. Left foot service. Finds Chang once again. That touch got away from her, and now it's going to be a free kick here for Halifax. And we have a player down, Hopal as well.
Looks like she might have caught Chang's boot at the end there as she was coming through.
Yeah, certainly some connection on the follow through, shin to shin. In significant pain, which we don't like to see. So far, the training staff hasn't been called on the pitch as of yet. Unable to put pressure on it is Lemire. Trying to get up and unable to, falling back down to the ground, and now the medical staff will be called on. Halifax players going off to the sideline, going to get an opportunity to confab with Lewis Page. Get some water. Mary McLeod talking to the goalie coach.
I think Halifax has a lot to be proud of so far in this second half. I thought that they've brought great energy. You're seeing them not lay off and get down on themselves. Oh, they're a goal behind. At times it's easy to get in your head and really throw yourself off your game, but I do think that they've had a better second half actually, and they came out with the right mentality, and we've seen them be more on the front foot and have that aggressiveness in the final third. It's just a matter of really bringing all the pieces together and being able to hit the back of the net, because right now that's what's lacking. It's that final pass, and I think that's something that we've spoken about probably in every game. It's just a matter of really bringing everything together, and I think as the season continues and they get more games under their belt, that will be second nature, but for now it's just a matter of finding that footing.
Every team is working to have all the pieces fall into place, and sometimes you do need time, and honestly sometimes throughout the course of a long season you think you have it, you plateau, you tinker, and you build towards the finals, the playoffs, and that's when you really want to hit your stride. So no one trying to get too far out of the conversation, but every team in the NSL understanding that growing pains are part of this.
And we're starting to see partnerships form on different teams. When you do have substitutions come in, you're having new players play with each other and really trying to get to know each other. Eventually, when you're having essentially the same players play big roles with substitutes here and there, you're able to learn, what kind of passes your teammates like, or what kind of runs they are typically known to make, and you're able to be on the same page. But right now, it's just, again, people are coming from different backgrounds. Everyone has learned different things.
Different
so
styles,
it's just, exactly.
European soccer, Canadian soccer.
Absolutely, and you have different ages. You have people who've been playing for a long time and might be a step ahead mentally in regards to what run they could have made, and someone that is young and just up and coming and who's so talented and brilliant, but just needs a bit of that experience in this league to really catch up that way.
Lemire is up, and she's walking under her own power, which is great to see. We're going to get a substitution for her anyway. So it's going to be Anne-Valerie Seto who's going to come in. Taking Lemir's spot in the midfield. So that's 3 midfielders that have been replaced for Halifax in the second half alone. Gibson once again. One touch, right-footed to the top of the 18, head on, it's wide.
We're seeing Vancouver continue to bring that fight to the final third. They're creating a lot of opportunities and really just on that front foot. They're not allowing Halifax to play out very easily. They're applying just the right amount of pressure at the right moments, and it's creating a lot of turnovers for them.
A nice job from Quinn to win the ball back in the midfield. And now Vancouver happy to take their time as Hagman dribbles through the central area of the pitch. And here comes this press from Halifax. They need to be careful. Well in by Faulkner to get it to Spencer. Tackle won by Halifax. Another player down on the far right side of the pitch, but advantage play on. A long outside shot takes a bounce and it goes left of goal. An audacious effort from way, way out.
This is the intensity you want from Guay. I'm not sure what happened. It looks like she might have potentially cramped as you see her being stretched out there. But that all starts from her effort, her defensive effort to be able to get that ball up front. It was definitely a very big effort from far out. Potentially could have got closer and created something a little more dangerous. It is hard to not only get it on target from there, but have the right amount of power behind it to really create a dangerous opportunity.
And we see Guay up and at him, which is good to see. And we play on here as there's about 5 minutes remaining in regulation time. Here in Burnaby, BC, Swangard Stadium, Vancouver Rise hosting Halifax Tide. Halifax Tides FC still searching for their first win of the season. Both teams coming off very difficult losses where they were overwhelmed by opponents. Vancouver losing to Montreal 3-1. Halifax falling to Calgary 4-1 at home at their opener, the Wanderers grounds. Still time for the Tides to tie things up. Miller looking to start it off. 1v1, takes it to the touchline, cross, clearance. And both teams done well to get those one-touch clearances out of danger. Unfortunately for Erin McLeod, that one fell directly in the crosshairs of Jasmine Spencer, and she cracked a beautiful shot under the crossbar to go up 1-0.
You're seeing as Vancouver applies more and more pressure, Halifax is really just trying to get rid of that ball, and right now it would be in their best interest to be able to control it and attempt to create something out of that possession. It's very difficult to just kick the ball up and hope that someone will potentially get there. They have been doing well this half in creating more build-up. We've seen them utilize their midfielders. We've seen players like Miller really go down the flank and create problems going 1v1 and getting some crosses in. But if you're just going to kick the ball up like that, Vancouver is going to do a very good job at wasting whatever is left on the clock.
Learning a little bit about this Vancouver Rise FC personality, because you wonder if they go up a goal, do they sit in a mid to low block and just pack it in and let Halifax try to solve them? No. Not this team.
They want more.
They've stayed on the front foot. They want more.
I mean, and we did speak about it, Ashley, earlier. We said, you know, they were able to, both of the goals that they've been able to score have come off of penalties. They wanted to show that they are able to score in the run of play, and although it came off of a set piece
by a defenseman,
this is true, but although it came off of a set piece, there was so much quality in that goal, and there's been so much quality in their build-up today, I would say, and how front-footed they've been, that there's not a doubt in my mind just how capable they are to be able to put those goals in the back of the net.
Seto looking for that through ball to try and create some trouble on goal. A little too much pace on it, and it falls to the very capable hands of McCaslin. Norkiss will defend Ward. 1v1. This matchup has been exciting to watch so far tonight. Help comes. Ward evades. And she'll win another corner kick for her efforts. Pesky is Ward.
If you're not able to create a cross out of something, getting a corner kick is absolutely the next best thing. That's a win.
You see Gibson coming short for the short opportunity if Hagman so chooses, but instead she drills it into the 6. McLeod punches it out. Cleared from the 18 from Halifax, who will now try to change transitions, pressure, but once again, it's anytime this Halifax team gets forward, McLeod makes a save on her side. Anytime this Halifax team get forward, they don't have numbers. That's another thing too. They're not moving in unison as a unit. It's 1 versus 4, 2v5, which makes it increasingly difficult to make any magic happen.
Yeah, absolutely, you're right. And I think, again, we spoke so much about wanting to see them play more compact and play as a unit. And I think that defensively there's been moments where they have been very great in their shape, but I think, to your point, Ashley, in transition, they just haven't had that support for their forwards. They just sort of send it up and are hoping that someone can create something, but Vancouver's done really well to get numbers back anytime that they are caught in transitional moments, and that's making it very difficult for whoever is receiving that ball up top for Halifax to create anything remotely dangerous.
Weller, Spencer, Faulkner, at times Quinn as well, coming in and fortifying that back line. Vancouver answers all evening for Halifax thus far as we tick towards 90-minute mark here in regulation. Danger in the 18 from Halifax, and that ball sailed high over the crossbar.
Yeah, those are the moments. It needs to just be a lot more clinical. I think that's Bluin. Again, we spoke about her in that one opportunity she had. When you are inside the 18, you do have to at least get an opportunity that is going to create a rebound. Of course, you're going to miss at times. Everyone does. We've all skied the ball over inside the 6-yard box, or at least I have. I know you have too, Ashley. Don't leave me hanging there.
1,000%. No, I was like, yes, confirmed.
I just think that, especially in these final moments when you are trailing, you really need to think about it a little more and be clinical and really get your body over the ball, or at least cut it back to somebody that can create a better opportunity or shot on goal. Thought you were gonna leave me hanging there.
No, my silence was in agreement.
Awesome.
If if I'm not protesting, I'm agreeing.
Anybody out there who's saying they've never missed inside the 6-yard box or skied it, you're lying.
You're not trying hard enough.
You are right.
You don't have
you're
that
not
killer
yet.
instinct. If you haven't decided to take your day's worth of frustrations out on a 6-yard kick, then I don't know. Congratulations. 7 minutes of extra time added here in this match, which makes it really interesting because Halifax has plenty of time to equalize 1-0 for the home side, Vancouver, over the visiting Halifax. Now, Holly Ward might have something to say about it, but she holds up, passes it back to Quinn, who hasn't been linking up with Hagman as much as she had with Nikki Stanton in the midfield, but nonetheless, it's Weller who's taking care of the ball, getting it up to Spencer, and now we move.
And Heiner Muller also mentioned just, in the last training session following a loss, she wanted to get back to her team, finding that confidence to live on the ball and be confident and just, play. And we're seeing that today. I think that they've done really well in translating what they worked on in training to show out for their fans tonight, because aside from the goal, their play has been great. They've been able to find those half spaces in the midfield, control the dynamic and control the pace, and really control this game just overall, and as well as creating final third opportunities.
Ward wins another corner kick. Hagman will go and take that. And you see some excitement here on Heiner Muller's face about the play of her young striker. Vancouver happy to take as much time as possible. Crichton complaining.
I feel that frustration. Ooh, what is that?
Blouin hanging all over the back of Hagman. Just what I would describe as a kerfuffle in the corner leads to a goal kick, and Erin McLeod will now take charge.
Kerfuffle.
Appropriate.
It is. Very.
Rarely get the opportunity to use it.
So you saw it and you took it.
Who turns it down? Who says no? Halifax looking to advance the ball to the final third. They're attacking third. They haven't lived here much. They've more rented space. They haven't had a long-term lease, if you will. Time ticking down in extra. We had 7 minutes added on. We're in the middle of the fourth. But it only takes one. Miller cross dispatched by Vancouver.
And I want to give credit to Miller, because I think in the second half she's done very well to make herself available on that flank and to have the confidence to go 1v1 and really try to get the ball in the box. There's been times where she's sort of been up there alone and not had very many options to create. So I think that she's done really well in this second half, and I think that she also had some bright spots in the first half as well. They spoke about wanting to put a big performance on for this home crowd, and you can hear the excitement in the crowd, and currently yelling that they love the Rise, and I think that this just shows how much the Rise loves them back.
Vancouver happy to retain possession and make Halifax work for this. Quinn commanding attention in the middle of the pitch, plays it out to their running mate, Jasmine Spencer. Spencer back to Quinn. They turn it over, Halifax ball. Nakamura came on and made some waves early, quiet since. Need to find someone to connect with Miller. Ward relentless, making Norcas's night a nightmare so far. Just over a minute left in extra time. Halifax has no time to waste. They must get forward on the front foot. This is not what they're looking for. Quinn brings down the ball, and it ends back in the possession of Vancouver, something they've been so astute at all evening, winning this possession battle.
Yeah, they've done very well to just keep the ball, not force it, and really just find their footing as this game has gone on.
Gibson tracking back, trying to defend. Quinn will do the same. Well in by Jasmine Spencer, but Halifax ends up with it. On the front foot, 1v1 versus Faulkner. And there we go. Quinn once again coming back with defensive effort, and now Ward back the other way in transition. A nice move to go 1v1 and find space. Numbers for Vancouver. Gibson in the folds. Lays it off to Hagman.
It's a great effort by Holly Ward. I would have loved to see Gibson really stay out wide and give her that width, but just a great effort.
And that's all she wrote. The Vancouver Rise win at home in front of their supporters. You see the smile on head coach Heiner Muller's face. This is exactly what she wanted from her team, to get back in the win column, to do it at home, to thank the supporters for showing up and showing out for them night in and night out before they take this show on the road.
Yeah, this is a very well-deserved win for Vancouver. I thought that they dominated the entirety of the match. I think that they were able to really dominate defensively. They were getting back whether they were caught up or not. I thought that in the final third, they were very aggressive. You were seeing them really hungry in the box. And obviously, Jasmine Spencer's goal, I mean, my goodness, what an absolute screamer. So yeah, I just think that this is a very well-earned win for them. I think that the Tides overall brought a very good effort in the second half. We saw them really come alive. They had some good spells of possession where they were really trying to break Vancouver down. We saw Miller have some really bright moments in going 1v1, and there were some opportunities that, you know, they could have made more out of, and I think that that's something that they're going to carry. I also think they're going to really focus on set pieces going forward, because this is something that has hurt them now in the last two matchups, and in their defending and being compact and not allowing people time and space in and around that 18 on that clearance. So I do think overall great win for Vancouver, and I think that the Tides have a lot they should be happy about, but there is some room for improvement.
Vancouver now 2-1 on the season. A goal in every one of their matches. And I know we talked about the possession numbers. It was 66% and change in the first half. So to your point, the Halifax Tides FC did come on a little bit stronger. 6 shots, just 1 on target though. Usually that's not going to get it done. 2 did it today for Vancouver Rise, so what am I talking about? And then you look at the yellow card situation. This game definitely got physical, but you have that corners battle that was led by Holly Ward, really giving Vancouver a chance to have that sustained pressure.
Yeah, agreed. And you saw Ward win corners time and time again. I mean, 11 is a lot. I would have loved to see Vancouver get on the board again off of a corner kick. Having 11 is a ton, but I will say that overall, again, they've dominated. You also see the fouls, 10-9. That is a high foul game. It was a very intense game. Both teams wanted it really badly, and I think we saw that by the amount of heart that was left on the pitch tonight.
Well, the Halifax Tides have an opportunity to get right back in action. Saturday, May 10th, they take on Montreal away once again. Sunday, May 11th, it's AFC Toronto and Vancouver Rise FC rounding out the schedule for Week 4. For Jessica Lisi, myself, Ashley Docking, and our entire team, thank you so much for joining us from Swangard Stadium in Burnaby, BC. Have a fantastic night, and we'll see you next time.